Buy these coins before liftoff. This is not financial advice, but this is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, keeping technical analysis short and sweet. And could this be the turnaround for Bitcoin? The reason I say that is that we have this downward trend line. We broke over it. We tested above it as well as above this 108. And the RSI is looking very healthy. We could see this consolidation and quick spike back up to the previous high. And then a further consolidation upwards. That is still a possibility. And is it still possible to just rapidly push down to the 200 EMA? Yes, but it's less likely now than it was a few days ago, being back here on like the 5th and the 6th. That had the more possibility to push down to 200 EMA. It's looking a little bit healthier. And the coins that I actually want to talk about in this, XCN being one of them, Tornado Cash is one I'm actually going to be putting about 15 times more than what I currently hold into this. As we had our entry at $7.50, we are at 100% increase, very stable. This is a lot of liquidity pushing this upwards. The reason we had this pullback is there was some kind of insecurity that the owner of Ethereum, Butin, or whatever, he invested a bunch of money to help get them out of that situation. We broke another downward jam, and we are up at 1430. We are breaking new highs from this previous high, and if it can hold that stability and the CM Guppy keeps using it as support, we are most likely going to, if anything, test off this 50 mark. But if not, these top two lines on this blue CM Guppy are like fire. It does not want to push below these two lines, and we can see that continuation upward for double money. But keeping in mind we are a little bit overbought. If that does push out of bounds, we are most likely going to have that push upwards for Tornado Cash. And what I actually wanted to bring to your attention is this is on the daily, but on the weekly, this is kind of what we are looking at. Very nice pattern playing out. Even in the RSI, we are building higher lows, and we are pushing this up into the overbought area, which is where you see those major pops happen. Like we saw back here in November, a major push real quick within that week. And so the weeks coming up, we do have the 200 EMA to break, but from $14 to $21 is a very good ROI. And you can trade Tornado Cash on MEXC. That's a 51% potential coming up. And the reference link for MEXC is below. So definitely check out Tornado Cash. I am going to be putting more money there myself. Doge had that push up to 24 cents, got that little bit of rejection as expected, but the volume is keeping very high. So we could see this get even higher highs, pushing it up to the 28 cents for Doge if it breaks this area. If it does not, I mean, I think it might, because we do have 9 hours left of this, but we get a little bit more volume, a little bit pushed back, and then the next candle take off. And I think Doge is actually a very good bet. None of this is financial advice. Flare retested that downward trend line and the 200 EMA. We saw that happen in Quant. But Flare, we want to kind of see this consolidate a little bit more before looking for an entry if you did not enter in on that 200 EMA. Compound, beautiful coin, building support on this upward trend line that we have here, and it is going to be testing that 200 EMA yet again. The RSI is pushing upwards, building higher lows, and we may do a little bit of consolidation and test that yellow line. But if we do that, we are most likely going to have that continuation upwards towards this 200 EMA. And if we break that, we ultimately need to break this $53 mark. Now moving over to Quant. This one is interesting because you see that it had that downward trend, and this candle specifically pushed down heavily. But what you want to keep in mind is the volume down here. This major red candlestick, but then all that volume is being pushed down, but then it got bought right back up, trying to hold higher lows than this previous low. And that is what we are doing right here. we are getting squeezed in between this upward trend, but keep in mind this upward black trend line isn't exactly anything to, consider structure. You can always adjust this, but for the most part, we want to keep it within this area and try and push it back up over this 200 EMA and get it above the CM guppy. It does look scary always, but with these upcoming months, quant is definitely going to be double money and an all-time high of most likely over 1,000, which is 10x. But actually, once I want to bring up a newer one to me, someone brought it to my attention. I'll actually do a video on this later. Is Cookie. Cookie is breaking a downward trend, volume, 2 green candles side to side. If we can get a little bit more volume breaking over this downward trend line, we'll most likely see a run over that 200 EMA, which is pretty good gains from this area. That could be around 30% increase or more for Cookie. And there's a lot of good information on Cookie that I learned about. You can stake Cookie, lock it up, and you receive airdrop proportional to what you locked up. So say you put in $1,000 and lock it for 30 days, they'll airdrop you $1,000. Seems kind of suspicious to me personally, as we've seen Maple get delisted off of other platforms, but as of now, we, just go for it. So QNT, long drawn out play, but this 200 EMA is very strong, and I believe it'll be pulling it back upwards. Main thing to keep in mind is that volume. BNT, one of my favorites, holding that downward trend line as expected. That's why we have it placed there. We just need to be testing this top downward trend line. We broke through this upward black trend line and started that downward movement, but it is within this channel, so we're going to see some movement around there. And if it does stray out, we're most likely going to get support off that 200 EMA and push it right back up into that channel. So if you haven't entered in on BNT, that's definitely a good swing trade. We are currently up from our entry at 37 cents. It's got a long way to go. So keep BNT on your radar. XCN. Quick, like, subscribe. I see 1,000 people watch these videos and only like 50 people are actually subscribed that continuously watch it. It's pretty crazy. But XCN, still similar idea. Double bottom. I think we could potentially have a lower sweep, but overall, if Bitcoin starts pushing up, we're going to start seeing this reversal take place, and we could essentially move this up to this area, saying that this would be our double bottom. Not really. I guess we'd just be adjusting this line. And if this holds support, that would be nice to see. However, it does have the potential to swing a little bit lower, grab some liquidity. But at this 200 EMA is coming down quick. I think it's going to be real quick to retrace over that and use it as support, breaking this downward trend line. It looks very healthy. I like to remove everything and look at it from a different point of view. Like this, a little bit confusing for some, but ultimately everything's going to pop back up when I draw this. This is what you would want to be looking for support, which is this green line we have placed here. And this is what we would consider resistance. So it has that major push up, retraces and gets major support off the 200 EMA, pushes back, major support, pushes back, has that cross underneath, but that is the pullback to the trigger. We may even see a wick off, grab some liquidity before ripping up past up to the 3-4 and beyond for XCN. I know it's a long swing trade for most that have been holding after that 2,000% pump. If you missed that, we were trading all the way back here before this first pump in 2023, grabbing some very nice gains before ultimately getting that 2,000%. So here we are again, and it still has a very long way to go to be reaching its all-time highs. So that's it for that. We're going to sneak in XYO, and then I'll do a little bit more depth on the other coins that nobody watches. So XYO, still long consolidation period. We are still holding higher lows than the previous one. And ultimately it's getting squeezed within this area. It's got this downward trend line to break. We could always readjust that due to this last spike right here. And we could say we want to mainly be holding off of this area, right off of that. If we can hold there, then we'll start seeing that movement upwards. We are just waiting for this thing to pop. It's got a lot of money stacked within this area, and it is just waiting to burst to the upside. Purple is crossing over yellow. You can see some quick movements on this. So keeping that in mind, RSI looks very healthy. A little volume will go a long way. We mainly need to get over that 200 EMA and this downward trend line. But once those are both broken, the sky is the limit for XYO. Good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you guys on the next one. Like and subscribe. All references are in the description below.